So while I'm doing this video in relation to my studies, well, my art studies at TAFE College was in 1996. So I did study fine arts, fine arts certificate first year in 1996. I actually picked up second year of fine arts certificate in 1997, but I was more focused on design. So I actually was doing full-time design fundamentals in 1997 and dropped fine arts. I have transcripts of what I've actually passed. I did study art. I did work in art. I did won competitions in art. I have worked in design as well. So, 1997, design fundamentals, that actually touched on all aspects of design. When I moved into Surrey Hills, the terraced house there back in the beginning of 2006, I wanted to design a sofa based on what I had learned in my design schools, basically, back in the 90s. So I actually drew up sketches of a sofa. I've got them over here, but I don't. But here we go. I've got some other things. So similar to, so you see how I drew up sort of specs of, that's how like different drafting and so forth. Or that cabinet. And like things like this. So what I've learned in design. So design, illustration and so forth. I did. So I designed one-off sofa, and I wanted to try and find somebody that could make it, and that's how I first met Steve Hatchett and Mitri. So I actually met him at the beginning of the year in 2006, and that was basically, I went to his warehouse and wanted him to make my design, and he did, as he made all mine. Now, I was a VIP host at Star Casino. That was my main job, but I still kept design and art as a hobby. Because to me, design and art was always a hobby. It didn't pay the bills, but it was a bit of extra cash when I needed it. If I wanted to do some things in it, my main job was VIP hosting at Star Casino, and I enjoyed it. Loved VIP hosting, but which meant also I could come home from work and work on art and design. I was mugged and robbed November 30th, 2007 on my way home from work. It was a massive, big, it was a Glasgow coma scale 13. So a Glasgow coma scale 13, I was in a coma. So that held my job, unfortunately, that actually held my job up, which I really hated because I was like, look, get me back into let me work with disability. Because it basically, being in Glasgow coma scale 13, they were classified as a brain injury and said, you're not going to be able to cope with the workload as a VIP host. I'm like, let me do that. Like, isn't there a process of living with disability that I can go back to the same job with disability now? Oh, look, I never got to go back to that job, which is really sad because I wanted my job back and I needed to have a better legal representation to say, well, hang on, living with disability, and the injuries that was caused from that mugging, why should he be disadvantaged and no longer have his paying job? And that's what I needed. And I asked my mother to help. I asked my family. No one helped. I never even got a really good legal representation. Nobody helped. I didn't have the best solicitor at all. I didn't have a solicitor that was focused. I had a money-hungry solicitor. Sorry to say, and if he ever sees this, I'm not going to mention his name, but I did. The start of the case, he wasn't focused on doing the best for me. He was just focused on making money for his law firm, or where he worked, and for himself. As I said to my ex-partner Gio once when we walked past his wife, my sister's wife, I'm like, that new diamond ring on her hand, my case paid for that. That's all they cared about. They didn't care about me. They cared about money. So I did not have a really good legal team at all. It's really sad because my understanding of the way Australia works was, well, okay, you were damaged after work, so you're living with disability. I didn't get anything for it. I've literally had people think that, oh, you got millions for that. I'm like, I got nothing for it. All I got was part salary payment for 10 years. Part salary payment for 10 years. That wasn't even my full salary. That's all I got. So it was nothing. I had to survive off savings that I had. And this is where it was really wrong because I kept saying, but I want my job. Like, I'm not going to get any payment. I'm not going to get any payout for having a brain injury because they're self-insured. There's nobody to sue. So I won't get a thing for this. And I got nothing for it except, but so I'm like, so I, at the very least, I need my job back because I need my salary package back. Otherwise, I'll have nothing in life. And that meant if I had had a really good supporting team, a good support network, a good disability workers that listened to me, it would have been, well, he was injured after work. You need to help him move back into his job role at the, salary package that he had. You can't give him nothing. So that basically my old employer was lucky enough to find the loophole and not pay anything. They didn't have to pay a thing unless there was a person to sue. So if I could sue the government, if I could sue the Aboriginal community because they were Abos, then yeah, that mugged me. But there was nobody to sue. So then there was no damages to pay to me. That was it. I got nothing for a Glasgow Coma Scale 13, nothing. Yeah. So at the very least, I wanted my job. I didn't get it. So I loved that job. Anyway, after so I was like, okay, then I'll go back and study. So in 2009, I went back to the studies that I had very similar studied in the 90s at TAFE College. So I did design events illustration certificate for at Enmore Design Centre. And it touched on a lot of subjects that I loved, including fashion design. And my in-class work is what you're marked on. And I've often said this, so I don't know what people have spread around, but my teachers, like Julia, the credit that I received was my in-class work because that's what they mark you on. I'm going to mark you on anything else like, your classwork is what they, even with product design, this is actually my schedule for the course I studied. So even when it comes to product design and so forth, you're going to be marked on in-class work. In product design, I did great, but even as the teacher said, you didn't complete by making the product itself. So your designs were fantastic, but you had to make that product. But as for the fact, so even if I had you had to just show up with something, But if you look here, allergies. So if you actually look, can try and get the camera in there. So if you see these marks here, this is all my teachers' marks. They were marking my work in class, what they liked. Okay, this is all my teachers' marks, and so forth. So this is my first stages of fashion design. All right. Second stage of fashion design, taking what the teachers like and producing the second stages and third stages, where you can see again that's my teacher's writing there. And then this is where I started going into patterning. So first sketches, my other sketches here. And these the illustration. So illustration of my fashion design work. Okay. Illustration. And then it comes here, as you can see here, where I had to do graphic design. This is wine label and poster design. I mean, it is not the best, but I still completed first year. And here's some of my notes. It is not the best, and I've never said that I was the greatest at it, but I still studied design and I still worked in design. And that's the fact. I still have studied design and I've worked in it. This is set design. Different aspects. You can see the scripts here and so forth, the transcripts. So, illustration, furniture design as well. Okay. I've got, but these are the furniture design, that's how I started, but the furniture design stuff I've got now, shit's all over this. This is how I started. And then what I've continued, because I then went to and changed schools. I went to Coca Republic Design School, but that was affiliated with Enmore Design Centre TAFE College. And this is my design work to do with them. My other brief to do with that school, perspective drawing, furniture design, and furniture design and so forth. However, what I've actually what the camera's moving around a bit too much there. Okay, so and what I've actually finished with when it comes to furniture design is a lot better than where I started. As for an example, I probably haven't got it here. An example of that would be, so I've put together should I have it here? A magazine on my design. Hang on. So, getting things ready for TAFE College, which I was going to go back to TAFE this year. Let's see what happens by mid-year. I put this together. So there's me, as you can see, wearing my design. That is my design that I designed. Okay. So I put together, makes it easier than carrying my big portfolio. And let's put a few of the best pieces, basically, of what I've done, and a description. As you can see. I did this last year, so because I was actually really except I got assaulted. So basically I was ready to go to TAFE. I was trying to settle where I am, go back to TAFE College this year on the 12th of February, but I actually got badly assaulted on the 2nd of February, and that's actually now exacerbated injuries that were related to November 30th, 2007 that I now have to recover from. So this is another health and compensation issue against the government organisation because of the people that they've allowed in the area, basically. So this is so I had all this prepared to go from my interview to actually orientation for TAFE. It's my poster designs as well. So I had all this ready to be able to hand this in to TAFE. This is what I did when I worked for Steve Hatch Dimitri. I designed that sofa. So I designed that sofa for Jamie Wright, and it went into a shoe shop in Double Bay in 2011. I designed, so there's some other furniture designs that I've done. There we go. And I've designed this sofa right here, and it's my one-off design that I designed in 2010, and it went into Jamie Wright's shoe shop in Double Bay in 2011, and I did. A long time ago, but I still did it. And that's my point. I've actually done the work. I've done the studies, I've done the work. Government in Australia has failed me because, well, even on the 2nd of February, what are you doing to arrest these people? What are you doing to arrest these people? Or they are so entitled in this area that police are too scared. Are you too scared to arrest an Aboriginal? Scared to be labelled a racist? Grow up. You're a government worker that's meant to be enforcing the law. Grow up. Honest to God, grow up and arrest a fucking Aboriginal. Are you that scared to be called a racist? Really? Grow the fuck up. Aboriginals commit crimes every day and get away with it because everyone's too scared to stand up to them. I don't care if you call me a racist. I'm not a racist. A lot of people these days are actually using that word as a way to get away with their bad behavior, going, oh, you're treating me like this because you're a racist. And that's where I've said in the last post that the US had a gutful. It's like, yeah, no. Racism, it falls on deaf ears in America. What'd you say? You call me a racist? Very funny. Not racist. And it's so mixed, not multicultural now that it just looks ridiculous when people use the word racist. And judges know in America that certain nationalities use that word to get away with their bad behavior, and Australia is really behind. It's like, stand up. What are you going to do? Go and arrest an Aboriginal. Go arrest them. Do your job as a government worker and put them in jail for a long time where they belong. Because that's what you should be doing. If someone calls you a racist, laugh it off. You're not racist, you're doing your job. Now, we're going to keep letting them think they're entitled people, that the law doesn't apply to them. They're going to keep breaking it and knowing that nothing will happen to them. Okay, because we have now seen this in Australia for a very long time. Stand up to them. Got to start standing up to the Pacific Islanders and Aboriginals. So what is it? Those, what they call them, the Torres Strait Islanders and the Aboriginals. It's about time. You know, it's time for a change in Australia, and I really do believe that this election is that time. I think most of Australia showed that they've had enough with the no vote. Okay, that was a landslide of, we were like, what was it, 80% or almost 100% of the population went no. No, we've had a gutful already. Okay, so now it's time to vote. Well, we know that Peter Dutton should be in, and we definitely know that Pauline Hanson should be right up there with him.